you leave work, but you don't really leave work.
Yeah, you're always surrounded by...
Yeah, and so you come home and then, you're treating your kids like, they're little soldiers and stuff like this. And, it's one of those things that I always felt bad about, that's the way I treated them. But it was the only way I knew how to at the time.
Right. And then quickly afterwards, you ended up being released, medically released. And tell us about how Veterans and Everyday Heroes started.
Oh, well, that would be Andrew's gig. He's the one that started the whole thing.
That's me.
Although, now it's us.
Yeah.
Right.
I, as I mentioned, when I was, joined the reservists, as a reservist first, became a police officer. Post-tour, when I got back, that's when things, although in reflection, I had an OSI for years. What happened over there was just the fuse that was lit.
Right.
And much like Greg had said, intolerance for certain things, limiting my outings. I didn't want to go out in public. My job had started to become affected where my anxiety was so huge that I could no longer function at work. And I made a decision. I was a cell sergeant at the time, one of the sergeants in charge of our detention facility, like primary holding. And a friend of mine just called me out on it, like, you have PTSD. And I looked at him and went, yes, I do. And, quite the opposite, I think, of what people would expect. I had obviously thought about it myself. And same with my wife, after an incident, lovingly but sternly said, you need to get some help. And it was at that moment I promised her I would, and I started. I went to a PTSD retreat, met a few individuals with service dogs. Having never had a dog in my adult life, for whatever reason, I felt that would work for me.
Right.
Went through a very arduous process to get rigs. Having your own, you know how difficult it can be.
Yeah.
And frauds and misrepresentations. I ended up receiving rigs here. Had to do a lot of training on my own. Wasn't really, although the offer was always there, I didn't really get a good handling course. So I hadn't owned a dog. I didn't know what to do with them.
Right.
And a friend of mine approached me. He was in the artillery, was a tactical officer on our police service, had been off with PTSD, and said, I hear you have a dog. I would like one too. How do we do this? I had made friends with a few people on my journey, one of which trained service dogs through an organization called Searchlight Service Dogs, which we had purchased a few dogs from. And we ended up getting him a dog. And we did that through raising money in a comedy show, where we made almost $20,000.
Nice.
Just having a show. VA didn't exist yet,
Right.
But it was after that I was like, not only did this work, did this happen, did we change lives, but it felt really good.
Yeah.
It felt like a purpose. So through the help of friends, and I was now at the Ontario Police College instructing there. I did 4 years there. I taught officer safety and defensive tactics. The recruits there loved my service dog rigs. They supported everything we did to excess.
Right.
And so Veterans and Everyday Heroes became a thing. And to date, what are we at, Greg? 8 dogs that we've had a hand in? 9?
9.
So at $20,000 to $35,000 a piece, we've had some decent success for a very grassroots organization.
Right.
So we're federally incorporated. We're boots on the ground. We genuinely care about our brothers and sisters in all uniforms.
Right.
And we just want to do the best we can.
So if someone wants to find out more information about, VA or needs help in your services, where does someone go to?
Number one place would be our website, which would be www.v-eh.ca.
Right.
But they can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok.
Right.
Yeah, we're actually on TikTok. It's not just for kids anymore.
Well, yeah, that's the new social media nowadays, right? Like, you've got to be on part of it all. But other than helping with the service dogs, what else does VA do?
We do almost anything. My philosophy, having heard no so many times in my life, is to try to always do my best to say yes.
Yeah.
So we'll do everything from finding events for people to go to, and you don't have to have an OSI or PTSI. Like, we primarily exist to just be into kindness initiatives. You have a buddy who just wants to go to a Blue Jays game. Maybe we'll try to see if we can get him tickets. Right? It's about putting smiles on people's faces.
Yeah.
And sometimes those little gestures stave off a bigger issue down the road, right? Like,
we also
maybe having a hard day, and just that Blue Jays game may end up just helping them smooth it out and don't develop into something more.
Yeah, whatever it is someone's passion might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, these days, though, there's been a lot of money given out for necessities. We know what our fixed pensions are like for our corporals. And if they live in the GTA, that takes almost 3/4 of that.
Oh yeah.
And now they're having trouble, deciding between nutrition and other things, right? So that, sad to say, is something we've done a little bit more of recently.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part. That's reality. With everything is getting more and more expensive, and guys are struggling even more, which almost puts even more stress on them.
Exactly.
It does.
But so moving forward, where do you see VA going after this?
We have applied for charitable status.
Okay.
It just seemed like the right move forward. We've had decent success over the last couple of years, and largely in part to bringing Greg onto the team. And why not, right?
Yeah.
If we have the heart, we have the capacity to do more. We are, of course, always interested in people that might have specific skill sets that want to join our team, because Greg and I we have limited capacities some days, and certainly aren't experts in everything.
Yeah.
And to be able to build an even stronger team would be amazing.